Welcome to Tales by Tyrell, where timeless stories come to life. Today we bring you the tale of Hansel and Gretel, a story of courage, cleverness, and the power of never giving up. Sit back, relax, and let the magic of storytelling begin. Nestled at the edge of a vast and shadowy forest stood a small cottage. Inside lived a poor woodcutter, his two children, Hansel and Gretel, and their stepmother. Hard times had fallen upon them, and food had become scarce. One night, as the children lay in bed, they overheard their stepmother whispering to their father. Her voice was cold. "We cannot feed them any longer. Tomorrow we must lead them into the woods and leave them there." The woodcutter's heart ached, but he was too weak to argue. Hansel, however, had been listening. He comforted Gretel, whispering, "Don't worry, I have a plan." The next morning, the stepmother and the woodcutter led them deep into the forest. But Hansel, wise and quick-thinking, had filled his pockets with small white pebbles the night before. As they walked, he secretly dropped them one by one along the path. After a long journey, their parents left them by a large tree, promising to return. But as night fell, only silence surrounded them. Gretel clutched Hansel's arm. "What will we do now?" Hansel smiled. "Look, Gretel, the moonlight shines on the pebbles. We can follow them home." Step by step, they made their way back to the cottage. Their father embraced them with relief, but their stepmother was displeased. The very next morning, the stepmother took them into the woods again, but this time, Hansel had no pebbles. Instead, he used tiny pieces of bread, which his stepmother gave him as the breakfast that morning to mark the way. But when night came, the children realized birds had eaten every crumb. They were lost. They wandered through the dark woods for hours until at last they stumbled upon something magical. A house unlike any they had seen before stood before them. Its walls were made of gingerbread, its roof covered in chocolate, and its windows glistened like sugar. The sweet scent filled the air. Hungry and tired, the children eagerly took small bites from the house. Just then the door creaked open, and an old woman appeared. She smiled kindly. "Oh, dear children, you must be starving. Come in, rest, and eat as much as you like." The children hesitated, but the warm food inside was too tempting. They stepped into the cozy house, unaware of the danger that awaited them. For a few days, Hansel and Gretel were given delicious meals and soft beds. But soon the old woman's kindness faded. She was no ordinary woman. She was a wicked witch, and she had a terrible plan. She locked Hansel in a small cage and forced Gretel to do all the housework. "Feed him well," she ordered. "I want him nice and fat so I can cook him." But Hansel was clever. Each time the witch came to check if he had gained weight, she would ask him to stretch out his finger. Since her eyesight was poor, Hansel found a small, thin bone in the cage and held it out instead. The witch would touch the bone and frown. "Still so thin," she grumbled. "Why isn't he getting fatter?" Days passed and the witch grew impatient. "I cannot wait any longer," she finally said. "Tomorrow I will cook him anyway." Gretel's heart pounded. She knew she had to act fast. The next morning, the witch ordered Gretel to check if the oven was hot enough. "Is it ready, child?" she asked. Gretel pretended to look confused. "I don't know how to check." The witch huffed and bent over the oven. In that moment, Gretel gathered her courage and quickly pushed the witch inside. The door slammed shut, and the house fell into silence. Gretel rushed to Hansel's cage and unlocked it. The children embraced, overjoyed. Before leaving, they found a chest filled with gold and jewels. Carrying as much as they could, they ran from the house and followed a path that led them to a familiar sight, their own home. Their father, who had missed them terribly, welcomed them with open arms. The cruel stepmother was gone, and with the treasure they had found, they never went hungry again. Hansel and Gretel had faced darkness, but with cleverness, courage, and love, they found their way home. The story of Hansel and Gretel teaches us that intelligence, bravery, and kindness can help overcome even the greatest challenges. It reminds us that no matter how dark the path may seem, courage and quick thinking can lead us back to safety. It also teaches that greed and cruelty, like the witches, will always lead to downfall, while love and perseverance will guide us to a better future. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tales by Tyrell for more amazing tales. Until next time, keep believing in the power of stories.